But I trust to tarry a while with you, if the Lord permit. But I will tarry at Ephesus until Pentecost, for a great door of affection is open unto me, and there are many adversities. That's First Corinthians chapter 16, verse 7 through 9. For 2 years the gospel sounded out so that everyone had heard it in the province of Asia. Probably the seven churches of Asia Minor came into existence through the preaching of Paul the apostle here in Ephesus. This may have been where he had his greatest ministry. So that ends that section. Now we're going to move on to section verses 11 and 12. And God, verse 11, and God wrought special miracles by the hand of Paul. There are different words used in the Greek which the Bible translates as miracles. Here, the word for miracles is dunamis, from which we get our word dynamite. It means an act of power. God wrought special power by the hands of Paul. He is exercising the gift of an apostle. This was a great religious center, possibly more than Athens or any other. The great temple of Diana was there, and the worship connected with it was satanic to the very core. Now, in order to meet that kind of opposition, God granted Paul some special powers. And whenever I preached the series of messages on the seven churches of Asia Minor, on our research Ephesus, actually John says, or Jesus says to John, that Ephesus was Satan's seat. I believe that's the church that was talking about. And so I researched Diana at that time. Verse 12, so that from his body were brought unto the sick handkerchiefs or aprons, and the disease is parted from them, and the evil spirits went out of them. You know, it's probably one of the reasons that we saw that the I can't remember their names now. I hate whenever I can't. Aquila and Priscilla had to leave Rome. Is probably there was a disease going about the Roman Empire at this time, and so lots of times the Jews were accused, or they were the scapegoat for the leaders for these pandemics. What were these handkerchiefs and aprons which are mentioned here? These actually could have, we could call them sweat cloths. Paul used them as he worked. Remember that he was a tent maker, and this was a warm climate. While he was working, he would be perspiring. He would use these clothes, these handkerchiefs and aprons, to wipe his brow. These were dirty. They had his perspiration from his body on them. People would come and pick up these dirty cloths and would be healed of their diseases. In that area, there were the mysterious religions which used white garments and emphasized that everything must be very clean and white. Everything had to be just so. It seems that God has rebuked all of that sort of thing. He used these dirty, sweaty cloths to heal people. This reveals the special power that was granted to the Apostle Paul. As far as we know, this is the only incident like this that ever took place, including the day in which we live. It is almost blasphemous for anyone to send them out a little handkerchief and claim there is power in it. Paul's handkerchief was an old sweat cloth. God used that to rebuke the heathen, pagan religions of that day. Diseases were healed, and evil spirits went out of them when they picked up their dirty sweat cloths.